Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Check Investing. Let's a quick video here. So this is the weekly review. All right, just gonna be doing a top-down analysis of what happened during the week. So this weekly candle, you can see that we had a pretty aggressive new opening gap to the downside, right? And then we ended up picking out all basically my sell side targets that I've been trying to take out for the past couple weeks. All that has now been taken. So not shocked at all to see a really solid reversal, right? Where the market's been historically weak. We were looking for any opportunity. Like there's a lot of people who want to buy down here, right? Just think about that. So any news that could potentially stop us from thinking that there's going to be a massive worldly sell-off is going to kick off an opportunity for a decent retracement like this. Now, can we continue this move? I personally think that this is just a rebalancing of this very bearish price action, and I think there's more downside to go. But I'm gonna have to just wait and see what the candlesticks are telling me, right? Like that's not something that I can just be 100% about. And so, um, sorry, just trying to turn these off. Right now, you see, we came back and tapped this weekly low here, and then we came back into the range. On the daily here, I believe what Monday starts here. So new week opening gap lower, takes out the previous week low, comes back into the range, leaves the daily CIVI here. On NQ, we couldn't get to it. There was SMT between these highs, and we ended up reversing, but that move could not continue, right? Because there was some noise that Trump announced that we're going to be pausing the tariffs, and so that actually catapulted price higher for a historical move in a single day, overlapping this volume imbalance here, closing in these inefficiencies, and coming back into this daily bearish order block, and then stopping, closing at this previous week low, just to head lower and retrace that move, and find support here on this daily bullish order block, and now it looks like we're going to continue higher. We had an inside day on Friday. On the 4 hour, right? Moving lower, relatively equal lows that were left here, but there was a large new week opening gap that we overlapped, right? Pretty much on Monday, that was drawing liquidity to overlap this new week opening gap. When you see something like this, and you see that we start to break market structure higher, or market structure starts to look bullish higher, we're likely going to fill this in. We came back into this 4 hour CIVI right here, okay? And look, if you actually try this forward, like look at how we interacted all week, right? So this 4 hour CIVI, we tapped it right here, okay? Came lower, consolidated basically overnight, and then here going into pre-market and AM, we came back to the bottom half of this 4 hour CIVI again. The daily CIVI was right above here, and also the rest of that 4 hour CIVI. Price is couldn't make it there and started breaking lower, so that tells you how weak price really is. Comes back all the way back to this 4 hour discount FBG, basically throughout the entire day, and then starting in Asian, price hit the 4 hour order block, and then going into pre-market, we start to come into this 4 hour CIVI. I wanted to see us react from here and then run lower, especially because we had daily SMT. And so I'm thinking the next couple daily candles are going to be bearish. However, we had that news about Trump, and that actually made the price for the market reverse. And so price actually just scaled higher, closed well above all these relative equal highs, and now took out that liquidity. Came here, took out a lot of LRRs, and came into this old inefficiency, also with this new week opening gap, and then retrace basically overnight, and going into the AM session here to equilibrium, where I caught basically the best trade I've ever taken in my life, and caught like 800 points, and came back to this equilibrium level, and then we found support in the upper half of this 4 hour FEG CIVI. That price has been reacting from. I'm actually gonna keep this on my charts because this is the first time I'm actually seeing this, but this is why I like doing these weekly reviews, because sometimes I can take a look out and I can see some PD arrays that I hadn't necessarily looked at before too closely. And you can see during Friday, after a really large Wednesday and then a really decent retracement Thursday, we didn't get too much money. Movement on Friday. It was a pretty choppy day, but there were still some opportunities. On the 1 hour here, right? They're making a series of, basically looks like a double bottom, right? There's liquidity below here, right? Think about how many retail traders are keeping a stop loss here. So I still have this in sight. I think we're just having the juice swing higher to run lower. I want to see these relative equal highs here get taken out at some point, right? And then price run lower. Maybe have some SMT at these highs. Maybe like NQ will take out these highs, but ES can't. I could see price propelling lower and taking out all the sales out liquidity over here. But that's just speculation. So price comes into Monday morning, taps into this old 1 hour FEG basically during the 9:30 a.m. Judah swing, runs higher here, takes out this candle's high, comes into this 4 hour CIVI, then immediately traces lower, right? So the reason why this move was so voluminous is because there was like fake news that Trump was going to pause the 90-day tariffs, and then that news actually came out for real on Wednesday. Price ran here, stayed in the upper half of the new week opening gap, created a 1 hour bullish order block, tapped the redelivery balance price range of this 1 hour bullish order block over time, trickled higher, then consolidated basically overnight. And then going into pre-market, price runs higher. Propels to take out this high. That's why we have SMT here, and that propels to move lower. So when I see this SMT forming, I see that there's like we're in this 4 hour FPG SIBI and a deep premium after just moving up, and there's a lot of liquidity here, especially below these relative equal lows here, and there's probably liquidity below this data low here. As well, or not data low, but just some lows here. This could be a catalyst for me to hold a very long move lower, especially in a bearish market, which we're in. Price inverts this 1 hour FPG BISI, comes back and taps this breaker, right? And you can see the strength with which we inverted this BISI here and close below this low. If we can get immediate tap back into this breaker, right? My stop, if we're gonna enter here on the 1 hour, my stop would be above this candle, this series of candles right here, and then aim for lower. So this would have been an amazing trade, right? That you have held at least until the end of the day. So I probably would have, gotten out around here on the lows. But that could have been an amazing trade, actually, to be honest. That's something I'm just looking at in hindsight. 1 hour trades are definitely something I can look to take. I guess I just wasn't really thinking about it. Price ran lower, right? Low, high, lower, low, overnight. London manipulation, break of market structure, comes back into this 1 hour FPG BISI. This is another 22 model reacting out the 1 hour, and we end up retracing a lot of its move. This is actually showing you bullish price action, right? Like it's showing you that we could potentially have a reversal. But I thought that we were just coming up here higher just to run lower again and take out these relative equal lows. But look at how we took out this low and it broke market structure. Yeah, that's not necessarily super attractive to me, right? I would love to have seen just more relatively equal lows here, like we saw here. But this right here, because we purchased liquidity and broke market structure, in hindsight, looking at that, we actually could have had just continual bullish price action, especially if price is not showing a willingness massively to continue a downside move, which is what happened on Wednesday, and then price started slamming higher. We make this high here at Wednesday, 3 p.m., and then consolidate. And then basically SMT, very small SMT with these highs right here inside of this maybe opening gap at this old weekly low level. So very big catalyst for price to start sell market maker sell model lower to retrace a lot of this imbalanced move, right? Coming back to equilibrium. And that's exactly what we get. We come into this 1 hour SIBI here, wicking into it, and then price runs lower, forms this low at 12 o'clock, and then basically consolidates. Small retracement, runs lower again, but not really going anywhere. Price then breaks market structure above this candle's high, right? Comes into this bullish order block and this 1 hour FPG SIBI, finds support on it, bouncing between these 1 hour SIBIs here on a Friday where it's pretty choppy, but ultimately still running higher after purging this London low here at 10 a.m. Breaking market structure above this candle's high, two thirds relative equalize here, and this consolidates for the rest of the day. Not too much movement after a very busy week. So hopefully this was helpful. Catch you guys in the next video.